Do you want to know what the first thing I notice every single time I watch myself back at the camera? It's my eye. Not the lighting, not the color grading, not even like the storytelling. It's my eye. It probably looks like I'm not looking directly at the camera and I'm looking off of it, but I promise you, I'm looking dead onto the camera every single time. I'm not even going to move my eyes and I'm going to put my glasses on. And see, that's the crazy part. When I have my glasses on, most people honestly have no idea that I have a lazy eye. But for me, sometimes when I'm talking to the camera up close, you can't really tell. But when I back away, well, you can start to tell that I have a lazy eye. And honestly, it's pretty embarrassing. So hey everybody, welcome back to another episode. If you're new here, my name is Shelda and I'm a creator here in Austin, Texas. And lately, I've been documenting more of my life, kind of like the raw stuff, the vulnerable stuff that not a lot of people talk about on their YouTube channels. But for me, that's the content that I love. And so that's the exact content I love making for you. But today's video is a little different because I want to talk about something, honestly, that I've been insecure about my whole entire life. And well, that's my lazy eye. And more importantly, what it actually feels like living with one. You see, up to this point, I've been looking at the camera directly with my glasses, and it looks like I'm looking directly at you. But from your perspective, it probably looks like I'm looking over here. And living with that is super challenging, knowing that I'm always looking at the person I'm talking to, but they sometimes think I'm looking over here. It's really challenging to live with if I'm being honest. So throughout this video, I'm gonna keep putting my glasses on and off just so you can see the difference. And so I think when people hear lazy eye, they think it's just a physical thing, like, oh, that person, maybe they have their eye that drifts a little bit, or maybe it wanders a little bit. But people don't realize how much mental energy goes into actually living with a lazy eye. You start to become hyper aware of everything around you. You become hyper aware of your face. You think about your eye contact that you're constantly trying to maintain, even though you really can't. And you start to wonder if people are noticing it in conversations. You wonder, is the audience that I'm creating videos for, behind the camera, are you noticing it? And especially for me, my whole entire job is being on camera. So if I don't have essentially my safety net, my glasses, then anytime I'm shooting anything, it looks like I'm never looking directly at the camera. And well, that kind of sucks. And the reason I'm making this video today is, a few weeks ago, I was shopping for some new clothes, here in the Domain in Austin. And I walked into the store, I was talking to somebody, up close, one of the workers. We were talking about a shirt. She had to go check a size for me. And then when she came back out, she was across the store and I looked over, we started conversing, and she did exactly what everybody does whenever I talk to them without my glasses on if I'm further away from this. So we're probably about here. We start talking and the person does this. And so that right there, that tells me that my eye went lazy and they don't think I'm looking directly at them, but I'm looking over their shoulder. And that happens every single time I'm talking to somebody face to face without my glasses on. I try as best as I can to make eye contact with the people that I talk to, but what happens, and it's not in my control, my lazy eye starts to look over their shoulder. And so you, the viewer, you always think I'm talking to somebody behind you or off to the side. And it may sound kind of silly, but every time that happens, it honestly feels like there's a dagger that is just like digging in deeper into that insecurity. So let me explain really what happens in that moment. So when I'm talking to somebody, talking to you, I don't feel any different. I can't control it, but my eye just happens to point a different direction. And like I had mentioned, it looks like I'm looking at somebody over their shoulder or behind them. And so you, the viewer, you go to say something to me and I respond back and it looks like I'm essentially doing this, not even looking at you. And really, that's kind of when like all hell breaks loose. That's where my nerves get shot. And that's where like the insecurity just really spikes for me, because the second that I see somebody looking over their shoulder, that tells me, oh man, they can see my lazy eye and it looks like I'm not looking at them. And it honestly feels so awkward. I hate it. And I've had to deal with that my whole entire life. And as far back as I can remember, that's one of the reasons why I love wearing sunglasses as much as I can, because I can hide behind my mirrored lens and talk to you and you can't see my lazy eye. And now if we go all the way back, back to when I was a childhood, I actually grew up with this. I was born with a lazy eye and I had to have surgery pretty young. I think when I was, 2 or 3 years old. And after that, I had to wear an eye patch over that eye, part of the normal procedure. But then what happened is my other eye overcorrected and then that became lazy. And so then years later, I had to get eye surgery on that one. And so as far back as I can remember, I've always had something going on with my eyes, whether it was surgery. And then for a while, I actually didn't know that I needed glasses. And so everywhere and everyone that I talked to, even as a kid without glasses on, it looked like I was never really fully looking at somebody. And now at this distance, this is less than a forearm length away from you in the camera. It's fine. It looks like I'm looking directly at you. But the more that I go away from the camera, the worse it gets. And so when I'm talking to people, friends in a social setting, coworkers at work, whatever it is, potential clients, if I'm not wearing my glasses, that's where my insecurity really starts to skyrocket. And what I've noticed is it really just starts to change how you view life. Like you start to look at just everything different. Anytime you meet somebody, you really get nervous if I don't have my glasses on. And I've even tried to trick it. Like I've even tried to overcorrect, like here, I'll try it right now. I have no idea if this is going to work. But what I used to do is I would actually not look at the person. It's like now I'm not looking at the camera at all. And for a while, it would actually look like I was looking at you. Here, I'm looking back at the camera again. And that sometimes worked. But then what I noticed, I felt even more insecure because now I was talking to you, even though I actually wasn't talking to you. It's like it was a really weird kind of like mind twist in a way. And so it started becoming something that I had to live with every single day. And the more I'm stepping into a creator and being in front of the camera in this whole YouTube journey, it's actually brought up that insecurity a lot more. Like it's made it really, really loud. And you see, over the last 4 years as a photographer, I would travel the country and I was taking photos at all these different locations where I was meeting a lot of my fans. A lot of my fans would come up to me for the very first time. They'd be excited to talk to me. They'd either wave at me at first. And while I'm making perfect eye contact with them, it actually looked like I was waving and talking to somebody else. And so it really made those first interactions really awkward. And I honestly, to this day, I still feel really bad about all of those interactions that people had no idea that I was actually waving at them, but it looked like I wasn't because of my lazy eye. Kind of a weird thing. And now that I'm a creator, I honestly have to live with this all day, every day. I'm staring at myself in the camera when I'm having to edit my videos, when I'm taking all of my thumbnails. So I'm constantly having to watch, myself back over and over again. And so you really start to pinpoint different flaws, I guess, that you have as a person, especially as a creator. And then if that's not challenging enough, that's where the internet can really step in and, well, it can be brutal. Luckily for me, I've only seen a few comments on my videos over the years that mention that, why aren't you looking at the camera? And I totally get it. I promise you, I was looking directly at the camera, but I totally get it because when I watch a lot of other creators online, especially newer creators, people have a tendency when they're recording themselves to look at the little, selfie view of them to make sure they look okay, instead of actually looking at the camera. So I'll give you an example of what that looks like. I'll keep my glasses on for this. So I'm talking directly into the lens. So it looks like I'm making perfect eye contact with you, but I've got a little screen off the side where I can see myself to make sure I'm framed up. And so if I did my whole entire video where I'm looking at myself and not looking at you, it would probably feel kind of weird, right? Like you'd be wondering, why isn't this person looking at me even though you're talking to me? Like you're creating a video for me to consume, but you're not even making eye contact with me. So you see how weird that feels? That's kind of what it's like living with a lazy eye, knowing that your audience always feels like you're never looking at them. But recently, I've had this realization to kind of sum everything all up. the thing that I'm most insecure about might actually be one of the things that makes me the most relatable, because everybody has something, right? You're all watching this. Everybody has something in our life that we're insecure about, something that you wish you could change. Maybe it's a body feature, body part. Maybe it's just something about you, something that you like hyper fixate on that you unfortunately have no control over. And that's where you can start to like compare yourself to other people and, well, that person doesn't have the thing or whatever it is. And that's where things can really start to spiral. And for me, mine just happens to be visible, where no matter where I am, who I'm talking to, you're gonna see my insecurity all of the time. Unless, of course, I'm wearing my glasses or my sunglasses. And I think part of growing up is, you always hear people say, you know, you work on becoming comfortable in your own skin. And it's realizing that when you're hiding over your insecurities, you're actually giving your insecurities more power over you. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to make this video today, is to really talk about an insecurity, step into my insecurity. And the more research that I did in preparation for this video, I looked all over YouTube. And yeah, there's a bunch of videos that talk about a lazy eye, but it's from a doctor's perspective explaining what a lazy eye is, or it's somebody like myself who has a lazy eye, but they're just showing you what it is. I haven't ever found a video yet of somebody who has a lazy eye and they are living with it and they have to live with it. And there's no videos that explain what it's actually like to live with a lazy eye and what the feelings are that we go through. So hopefully this can help people who have a lazy eye or another form of insecurity. Maybe it can help you feel just a little bit more comfortable with that, and to let you know that, hey, it's okay. We are all struggling with something. And now this specific message may be a subset of people, but I think the creators out there who have a lazy eye especially struggle with this, just like me, because creators that have a lazy eye, we live in a world where everybody's trying to look perfect online, right? Perfect lighting, you're trying to have this perfect body, perfect skin tone. You have all these different, camera angles that you're trying to make your videos look cinematic and look really cool for the audience. But the creators that I connect with the most are the ones where they feel human and they show the human side of them. And so one of my goals for this channel is to show more of the human side as me as a creator, because I think that's what people relate with. And I think that's what we all need more of in the world. So yeah, this is what it's like living with a lazy eye. It's overthinking eye contact. It's watching yourself differently than other people watch you. It's noticing things that nobody else probably notices, but it's also learning that imperfections don't disqualify you from being seen. And in reality, if you've ever felt insecure about something physical, I hope this video reminds you that people who matter the most are probably the ones that aren't focusing on it nearly as much as you are. They're focusing on you as a person. So if this video resonated with you, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what's something that you've learned to accept about yourself over time. All right, that's it. I'm gonna put my security glasses back on so I can feel better with this outro. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you guys in the next one.